that for now. We've got plenty of time to talk about Hearthstone and players, so we'll talk about two more. We have a previous world champion, tom60229. He's got off to a fantastic start in Season 2 of Hearthstone Grandmasters here in the Asia-Pacific region. He's going to be going up against a player who's also had a bad last season and also had not the best start to this season in the form of Pathra, although she is in Blitzchung's group. So although I am not speaking for any players at all, but if I was in Patra's position, I'd be happy Blitzchung lost. And again, that is just a pure, whoever that is below me, you are happy it isn't you. And that's a fact. But anyway, let's take a look at this. It's going to be Tom is going to be shielding his priest and having his warrior banned out, so opposites from the match he played earlier this weekend.
True.
And Pathra gonna shield the warrior and get the warlock banned out. So a little bit different there for Pathra, but what do you make of these, not only these two players, but also these two lineups, Derek?
Tom going with the kind of game plan with, I think, assuming there that his warlock would be banned out, getting rid of the zoo, because given that his warrior is banned out of the way, the warlock is the scariest threat to his lineup. He doesn't have the best anti-aggro deck in the game, and that makes sense to me. Whereas Pathra shielding her warrior also makes sense. I wonder if she wasn't expecting Tom to shield the... Oh no, shielding the priest, yes, sorry. So I always get this wrong. Expecting Tom to shield the priest, and he did shield the priest, is a good outcome there for Pathra, given that she can hopefully line up her warrior against that priest.
Yeah, we see Tom's lineup. What he's left with, so effectively Quest Druid, Zoo, and this combo priest. And I feel like, honestly, maybe just at surface level at minimum, Tom, for me, feels like he's got the best grasp of the format, the shield, the ban. I feel like every time we've seen him so far in Season 2 of Grandmasters, when I've seen what he's done, I've been like, yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
And then just, I've questioned many things from all the players, but honestly, I look at Tom's, what the outcome is of the shield, the ban, and the lineup submission, I go, yeah, okay, yeah, I wouldn't mind being Tom in this spot every single time, and his record actually reflects that as well.
I think so too, and I think it's easy to underestimate Tom because of just how relaxed he seems whenever he's playing his games. We are often joking about it because he just seems so cool, calm, and collected, but that's often, I think, in Season 2 of Grandmasters in particular, one of the biggest assets you can have as a player. We have seen many players really starting to feel like they are playing much worse because of the stress that comes in when you factor in relegation, when you obviously just factor in that they could not qualify through to the top 4 if they're trying to go for qualifying through to BlizzCon as well. So I think here for Tom, the fact that he does just seem so cool and unfazed by everything is probably part of the reason why he's playing so well.
Yeah, let's bear this in mind, right? Let's cast your mind back. Tom kept a UI in a World Championship game of Hearthstone for the title.
Yeah.
He also had a massive confetti cannon go off
in his face,
effectively next to him mid-game, and then just brushed the confetti off the desk and carried on playing. And it's insane.
Yeah.
And it honestly, it may phase him. We don't know because he doesn't act like it, but he deals with it. It doesn't phase him to an extent where it throws him off. And again, we've seen him, as you said, time and time again. He just leans back, leans forward. There's my turn. Turn's pretty good. Leans back. Watch the game. Leans forward. Does his turn. Very impressive so far. And Tom didn't really blow my mind in last season. He did okay. But this season, I'm like, I think Tom gets this format very quickly. So we go into game number 1.
I agree, as he's lining up his shielded deck first, of course, this priest, which I personally think against the Quest Shaman is a very good matchup for the priest. I think if you're putting in a copy of Earthshock, the Shaman has a little bit more of a chance. Pathra has not included an Earthshock, clearly gearing her deck more towards, I think, Warrior, it's fair to say, or just a mid-game kind of aggressive plan, general good against everything, but not against priest, because a single big minion can just run away with the game.
Yes, and also that hand looks nice. Even as you could arguably say sometimes a wonky hand, but one drop with Psycho Pump available is like, you know, or at least decent one drop. Sign me up, because this is when it gets a little bit tricky, I feel. Look at this Power Word Shield, Nephroset Ritualist, like...
Patra's got a good hand of her own, though.
Does she actually just play Sludge?
I mean, I think she's probably going to go Quest Coin Sludge, yeah. It's difficult to know, right? One card was kept in the mulligan. Obviously, Extra Arms is gone. There's not that many cards that can stop. Actually, There's quite a few cards that can stop you from getting there. I don't know. I was running through them in my head. It's like it's Powered Shield, it's Divine Spirit, which they probably wouldn't want to play. But then it's also Injured Tolvir, it's Beaming Sidekick. I think she's got to take it, though, because, you know, when are you going to get your percentages in this matchup if you don't go for it? I thought you missed it.
I know.
I started having a heart attack.
I literally looked at the camera and was like, Shane missed it, because she would have reacted.
That would have been a Pathra punch moment, I think, right there.
Now we see. Oh.
Yeah, speaking of which.
The sense of dread that is probably washing over Pathra right now is just insane. Because if this was me, I just wouldn't even. I'd already be weighing up concede. Feels
as
that
disgusting as it seems, this is concede
wait for this
already.
trade cleric into the 1/1 into Neferset Ritualist, and then you're done.
Yeah. Of course, Mutate could get a Charger, a Wolf Rider perhaps.
Nope. A Master of Magic.
Or a dweeby little gnome.
What a dweeb.
You can even get a nice VT on the Dalaran Mage as well.
Oh, let's see for the sidekick.
I think he holds off here. I think he's far enough ahead to the point where he can play around MCT.
For McT.
Yeah.
New sandwich coming up.
Yeah, I was going to say, can I get fries with my McT?
Only comes if you order 4 other things.
And you only get one at random.
Yes, secret sandwich. You need to order 4 things and then just spin a wheel in the back and see which one you get.
Yeah.
I just don't even know.
Weaponized Wasp gets heal and then value traded.
I think it... Does it... I was weighing up Evil Totem just because it gets you a lackey into a Wasp deal 3 and just hope you can deal 3 to something that dies. You know, just something that extreme just might have to be played, even though Totem on this turn is a horrendous, like, single turn.
I wasn't considering that, but I'm honestly trying to think of any avenue that Pathra can get back into this game. And I think at the moment it's Tom misplaying and Mind Control Tech going insane.
Or even as silly as like Totem into Ethereal Lackey into Plague of Murlocs. You know what I mean? Like you have to make these plays. Yep. And I'll go again in... I'll give an example. Pathra is playing Defender of Argus in this list. Honestly, if you think Priest might be brought and it's fine versus other things, do you just play a Plague of Murlocs? Because I wouldn't mind it.
Psycho's playing it.
Yeah, it's something. Yeah, and Psycho's a pretty clever guy. It's something I would consider in a tournament deck. I mean, because there are so many good. Imagine Druid. Imagine playing against Druid with Plague of Murlocs.
Yeah. Okay, I was talking about. Oh no, okay. I was talking about Tom misplaying.
MCT.
It looked like he was about to play into MCT there.
Tom misplaying, don't be ridiculous.
Yeah, no, I clearly didn't have faith.
Oh, this isn't bad though.
This is pretty good. Up. Yeah, this is pretty good. If she can draw Mutate as well, then we're cooking. We're not cooking well.
Of course it's the right way.
Caveman, right? It's just a fire, a stick, and some meat.
Yeah, we've got some charred meat rolling there all of a sudden.
Mortals are so squishy.
More where that came from, because now there's just Psycho Pomp as well. Does go to 4 though.
Oh.
So honestly now, without overly memeing on Priest, how do you do this? Because when do you feel okay to go wide, if ever? And if you don't feel okay to go wide, how do you play this hand?
Yeah. Because you really don't want to just trade away this Light Warden for the sake of it to play around MCT.
I think you just Psycho Palm, because if MCT comes down, they steal something good, you have Silence, and you have Amet to follow up.
Yeah, but then you don't have a big board. And, you know, the thing is that Tom is not that far ahead on board. It's always just the threat of what he can do in hand to his minions in play that means he is so far ahead on board, if you see what I mean. It's the potential for buffing.
What about heal and then just Divine Spirit? The Light Warden.
I was looking at that very heavily. Yeah.
I do like this though. If you're gonna go wide, go wider.
Oh. Yeah, I suppose
you may as well though, right? Because there's no buffed MCT. It's only stealing 1.
Yeah.
And Patra's not even at the point where it can be a double MCT turn because no 6 mana. So.
Well, let's go.
Hold our breath. Is Tolver actually the best pull?
Absolutely. Yeah, being able to kill off the Light Warden and take the Tolver would have been unbelievable. But I think that's just not strong enough of a steal, and that's going to be game.
And again, that's why I kind of like the turn of saying, 1, Patra has to have mind control tech. 2, they have to steal the exact card when there's a lot of cards. There's, what, 3 out of 5 that suck. The Light Warden is... You don't just lose if they steal Light Warden.
Yes.
And Tolver, although annoying, you have Silence.
I guess you're saying that you have, at minimum, an 80% chance to win the game, and probably higher than that because you don't know they have the MCT.
Yes, and then also, even if they do,
odds.
and they get the best steal, you don't lose.
The game still counts.
Because, look, if they steal Tolver, you just silence next turn.
I think it would have been behind if Tolver had been stolen there. Honestly.
Right, but I just mean like it's not a loss because there's Amit in hand. There's Amit and more cards,
Fair.
which means that you're easily doable. But I believe
Easy
if mathematics works, that adds up to lethal, and Tom is going to go 1-0 versus Patra. The reign of terror from Priest continues.
The expected win there up against the Quest Shaman. And Tom, as we've stated there, hands go back. Whew, what did you think?
Yeah. Heard of the T pose? This is the Tom pose, which is just the hands behind. The hands go here and then behind the head. Done. The evolution. It's going to be an emote in some games at some point.
Yeah, it's true actually. We could get in Hearthstone. You can buy an emote pack of just Tom. I'd
just
buy
spam it instead of oops. It's
yeah,
just like
the secret 7th emote.
I'd pay for that. Just any price, I think, as well. You could take my money. But that was just game 1. Priest dominant as always. Can Patra fight back? Find out after the break.
Legends say powerful treasures are hidden everywhere here in Aldum.
If we hope to defeat Rafam, we'll need as many as we can get. He's already unleashed the ancient plague lords and countless monsters. Keep them distracted, Reno.
Not a problem. This plan is totally gonna work. Ain't that right, Finley?
Yes, I have them right where I want them.
There is an artifact here. The name is...
The Scales of Justice. Oh, it must be really fancy.
only to be used in a time of great peril. Yes, I think this qualifies.
Hey, look, Finley. You've lured one of the Plague Lords.
Take this, fiend!
In the face! Yeah! Hey, guys, get that treasure. We've got a Plague Lord to destroy.
Yes, please, hurry!
Not to worry, Finley. We'll just push this thing right here.
No, that's a trap. Watch out!
It's all good. I am totally tired.
Gracious me!
What we actually need to do is press this. And there.
A fish. No, it's the Scales of Justice.
Oh. Ah, who wants to use it first? Oh, I do. Me. On second thought, maybe give it to Finley?
All you had to do is hold a rope.
Here we go, blaming the tall, ruggedly handsome guy again.
Welcome back. I hope you've recovered from that priest game not too long ago. We've got Tom versus Pathra continuing right now, and Tom is going to be on the Warlock versus Pathra sticking to the Shaman, I believe.
Yes, a matchup we've already seen at least once today, maybe more, to my recollection. A matchup that I believe went in the way of the Shaman the last time we saw it, and I'm starting to think that might be a good indication of the way the matchup generally will go. I think that the Warlock has to get off to a very strong start right at the start of the game in order to be taking the kind of value trades necessary to pull far enough ahead. Because one of the things I'm realizing with Zoo at the moment is that it feels like it really doesn't pack a lot of punch. It hasn't been getting these aggressive, high damage starters that it has been famed for in past iterations of Zoo, and therefore I feel like it needs to get up to very, very strong board dominance, which Pathra absolutely can, Tom absolutely can do with his Sea Giant list, but could still struggle.
Yeah, and that's the difference here for me. There's two sets of eggs, the Scarab Egg and Serpent Egg in Tom's list, and they're a double Sea Giant, which means that there's a lot of stuff going on. And I think it's less... Oh, double Sandstorm Elemental's all right, isn't it? But it's less... For the Shaman, I feel it's more about getting lackeys early. It's not so much just early cards, but it's lackeys and, of course, Sandstorm Elementals. But both these players... I mean, Tom's just assumed the position of, yes, I'll get double flame imp on the mulligan.
Right, and I don't know if I'm mistaken there, but I think he just clicked keep full mulligan with his hands in the air, which honestly, if he did, is thoroughly impressive.
I know, yeah. He's that relaxed, the game just knows. It's just his foot. He just plays with his feet. But funnily enough, what do you think of Pathra throwing away double Sandstorm Elemental?
Oh, I didn't see that.
Can see it now. That hand looks way worse.
Yes. Okay, it's an interesting talking point, isn't it? Because Sandstorm Elemental, we know, can be one of the best cards in the matchup. Is it one of the best cards in the mulligan, though? Is it one of the cards you're looking for? Because you want to be spending all your mana as much as you can with this deck, right? You want to be going lackey generators, drawing cards, evolution, Mogu, things like that. Sandstorm doesn't allow you to do that. I think keeping one, I think you could debate.
I think I would have kept one.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. I think if she had any other half-decent card in hand, keeping one would be fine. But with such a poor hand as she had, I think... Sorry, as such a poor hand as she continues to have, I think it's perfectly reasonable to throw it away.
Yeah, another 9 damage, there's an egg, there's a vulture. I wouldn't even mind trade and get the vulture on board. Yeah, I like this. The vulture is such a problem. I keep calling it the backbone of the deck, in my opinion. And there is just not normally a good answer. And right now, I feel like I could cast this like almost play-by-play with the speed that each player is just having their turns.
Right.
I was like, and he's playing the vulture, and he's going to trade off to him.
I'm sorry, did I say that Zoo doesn't pack a lot of early punch? Yep. My mistake. This is the most aggressive Zoo starting hand I think I've seen in a long time.
There's even a Voidwalker as well to back it up, a Mekaru, an egg. The Solarium to maybe dig for a Grim Rally next turn.
Do you feel it calling to you, Raven?
Which one? Oh, the Raven caller.
Yeah.
Disappointing. Luckily, they've printed enough Ravens for me to let this one slide.
I play this card in Jambray Paladin.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay.
It's one of the worst cards in the deck, but I still play it.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's had what? Enchanted Raven, Messenger Raven,
Raven Idol.
Raven Idol. What was the other? There's been 3 actual Raven cards. Druid Raven and 2 Mage Ravens.
Messenger Raven. Did you say that one?
Oh, yeah. What's the 2-drop that's jousted a spell? What was that one called?
Yeah, a Raven Familiar.
Raven and Familiar, yeah.
Thought you'd be familiar.
And now I've got my Raven card back.
That's true. Everything's coming up with
Of course it's the right way.
I'm still waiting for...
A rock.
Yeah, I was going to say, it could just be the rock. A 1/1 pebble.
Mortals are so squishy.
And now, there's 5 damage available. The Vulture's going to spawn another 3-drop. Solarium. Oh, if you don't know, Crystallizer summons a minion as well.
Yep.
Oh,
what? Oh. What?
The synergies we didn't see.
Silence, fool.
Oh, it's a shame that the
Battle cards.
yeah, it doesn't work.
Why do you fall?
Yeah, this is looking worse and worse for Pathra.
Wow.
Tom's only limited by board space at the moment.
Tom is only limited by the weights, the training weights he has on that keep him at everyone else's level when playing in Grandmasters.
It looked like he was literally playing with no hands.
Yeah, and he's still winning.
Yep, Defender of Argus. Just to stay alive is dire straits indeed. Turn 7 before we're even getting quest completion again. Like you said, this is what happens when you don't get lackey generators.
Yeah, it's definitely tough. And don't get me wrong, I talked about the Sandstorm Elementals. I don't think they would have saved Pathra from this.
Yeah.
But mainly because just the mulligan was so bad. And I don't mean, again, I don't mean Pathra did a bad mulligan. I mean the outcome. Barista, pointless. Life Drinker, pointless. You know, even the Wasp, pointless. 3 mana, 3/3 against Zoo. Ha, look what they do for 3 mana. They make 4/5s.
One of the worst outcomes I've ever seen in Quest Challenge starting. And I mean, yeah. For Tom, when the damage start coming, it don't stop coming.
Oh, and the board's like unclearable, right?
His egg hits the ground.
Stealth. There's an egg. It's a little 2/6 dude.
Hello.
Almost out of time.
Look at whether he wants to trade. Probably think about MC Tech to a certain extent. But I think he should just jam it all face. Solarium next turn to maybe find another Grim Rally, maybe find some level of burst, but I don't even think Tom needs it.
Wow. I'm pretty sure that's just GG. If Pathra can hit Sludge Slurper into Ethereal Lackey into
A card that doesn't exist.
Yeah, yeah. Like Hagatha's scheme needs to get rolling.
Into timeout.
Yeah, right. It's just not there.
Wow. Sometimes games just go out of your hands. And not only does it feel bad when it's against Priest, it feels even worse when it's against a class that is a Priest.
Yeah. And it does look like we are seeing the two players right at the bottom of the division, Blitzchung and Pathra, both taking another loss here.
Also, wait, Blitzchung played Alotimu, right?
Yes.
I'm trying to just shuffle through decks lists because...
What are you trying to find?
Because Glory won, right? And Glory also has Priest.
He's up to 5-1.
So I'm just trying to work out is every player that had Priest won, as Tom takes the victory, of course. Sorry, I wasn't trying to defer from Tom's victory. Tom wins.
Yay.
Congratulations. But I think every player that submitted Priest won their series, apart from the player who couldn't because it was a mirror.
Yes, in
Because
Blitzchung.
Blitzchung and Alotimu both had Priest.
What do you know? Maybe there's some kind of a pattern here.
And it's crazy and it's very unfortunate. I feel like that last game is just one of those
Bit of a
games
non-game.
where, yes, the Zoo did Zoo things. One of the few times we've seen Zoo do something to that extent, I think, in power level, was absurd, and the mulligan was horrible. And this is the issue when a deck like Quest Shaman, there are holes in that deck, there are weaknesses. The deck can... I feel like it's such a middle-of-the-ground deck. It does a lot of things very well, but nothing exceptional, and it does some things very badly. Like one bad mulligan destroys your early game.
Yeah.
You know, one bad bounce or one unfortunate Shudderwatt timing destroys your late game. You can have no mid game, especially when there are lists that don't run the former champs. I think it's an extremely difficult deck, not only to build but to play. And against lineups where 1 second you could be against Control Warrior, 1 second you could be against Zoo, and you're against Priest. Like, the deck's good, but I think because it's so broad, it's not sharp enough in any one particular matchup.
I agree. And I think as we wrap up with Asia Pacific for week 3, that was our final match here before we send you over to Europe and then Americas. Just to kind of summarize my thoughts of this week and the decks that were submitted by all of these players. Honestly, I feel like this week was the week in which Asia Pacific was the furthest behind the other regions in terms of the decks submitted.
I agree.
I think it was not only the fact that there was very limited Priest being submitted, the majority of players did not go there. I think it was also just a lack of innovation from a lot of the players, and I think the players who did innovate did better. We saw Shaxi doing very well with his slightly different build of the decks, his interesting build on Warrior. Rivius, I thought, did a good job as well, whereas a lot of the players... Sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to say, and bear in mind, Rivius only didn't do quite as well because he played Shaxi.
Yes.
So it's like one of them has to win, one of them has to lose.
Exactly. And I think overall, for next week, I really hope we get to see a bit of an upheaval of the metagame. Because last week, I thought Asia Pacific actually did a very good job. I thought they had a good read of how things would shake up after the nerfs. There was a good amount of Quest Paladin, which I thought was a fantastic bring, having seen it all the way through. A lot of Druids and Warriors, which was a good recognition of what were the two strongest decks at the moment. This week, though, I think more players should have stepped up and gone with a next-level read to counteract the predictability of Asia Pacific.
Funnily enough, I actually think Cyclone Mage would have been a sick pick this week. actually think it would have done good. Look at Zoo, it's got so many freezes. Priest, it can stall / lock out with all of the freezes and obviously Conjurers. You can just conjure as a Priest minion and forget about it. Maybe that deck would have been pretty good. But yeah, I hope to see either, well, probably will see more Priests submitted, but also, you know, the Hunter. I think the important part is, I think now is the time players get away from Control Warrior. I think it's done. I think everyone knows how to play against it. Everyone knows how to build. They either ban it, and even if it's shielded, it's one win that doesn't do enough for your rest of your build, I don't think. I think something needs to change there. But let's take a look at the results for today. So we've had a busy one, but Chonsu 2-0 in Samuel Zhao. Chonsu continues to perform very well in Grandmasters Season 2. Flurry taking a win over Tyler. Dawn with that excruciating win over Frosty off the back of Octosari from a Starbringer. Heartbreaking. I think Frosty's already tweeted a half joke about Octosari, so by all means tune in for that one on Twitter. And then Alu Timu taking a win over Blitzchung in the, I'll call it the Priest Mirror. And then Tom taking a decisive victory over Pathra. What you thought about the day, Darren?
A lot of bad beats for some of these players, but I think overall, for the most part, the players who were playing better, I think, did come out with a victory, as has been the case, I think, for a lot of players here in Asia Pacific. As I think we're able to take a look at the standings now to see how it shook up the table. And it does mean that even though at the start of the week it was very much a lot of players condensed down towards the middle, and it does seem to be that case for the most part in Division A, man, Division B, we are seeing some pretty big divisions already.
Yeah, and then just to remind you, the cutoff is top 4 to go through to playoffs. I don't know if you can hear that, but the Chinese-speaking casters again, very excited. But the top 4 is a cutoff versus top 3 that was last season. But yes, I agree, the cutoff is huge, and this is actually a benefit for players that are not Blitzchung and Pathra right now, because they like, look at Dawn, 3-3 versus 1 and 5. Pathra and Blitzchung have to do extremely well, and Dawn and Alutimu have to do really bad for it to even equal. Never mind swap. So I think everyone above Blitzchung in that group is looking safe, I'll say, for Grandmasters Season 3. But the fight for top 4 is close. 2-5-1's looking okay, but then 4-2, 3-3, 3-3, and 2-4 from Frosty as well is looking pretty tight. So both groups look pretty spicy to me, but Blood Trail definitely needs to pull his socks up.
That's right, because for Frosty and even Samuel, Sao, and Tyler down on 2 and 4, if they have a good week next week, any three of those players, I should say, sorry, could end up in top 4 heading into week 4. And, you know, when we go through to week 4, that is over the halfway point in terms of group stage play before we go through to the playoffs. Because, again, it is 8 weeks of Hearthstone Grandmasters in Season 2, but the final week is the playoffs. So it's only twice they play all the other players, 14 matches for each player, which... we're getting through them. It's getting to the point where you can't just say, you know, it's only the start of Grandmasters. It doesn't matter if I take a loss. Now it's really starting to get through to crunch time. Yeah, and every win under each player's belt is going to be a huge step over, not only aiming for top 4, but for safety, which is, I think, might even be higher priority than anything else. It's like, yes, love to go to playoffs. Yes, love to qualify for global finals. Most importantly, would love to not get kicked out of Grandmasters. I think that is #1 from what we've seen from all the players. But your #1 casters are going to be done for the day. And we'll shift you over to 2 and 3 as it goes on to Europe and the Americas. So, you know, stay tuned. Admirable and Sol are going to be coming up soon to bring you the Europe Grandmasters, followed by TJ and Frodan, of course, for the Americas. But from Derek and myself, have a great day, and you have a great day too. Good night.